Hey everyone, welcome back to another awesome episode of Visibility Era. I'm here today with a beautiful human, Jayda. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I am so excited to be with you guys today. I just admire you very much from afar. I've been a listener of the show, and I just love everything that you're about and excited to join in the conversation.
Yeah, and we've already been like chatting off stage. So that's always fun when you know that you're gonna have a good conversation. Like regardless of what you're even talking about on the show, like we're already gonna have a good conversation. So thank you so much for being here. Now, one of the reasons we really wanted to bring you on is because we see marketing and branding and PR as cousins. They really support and function across and with each other. And you are a marketing, branding, agency owner doing all the things. So we're just really happy to have you on the show. And I'd love for you to talk about how you got into this work to start today.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, like you said, I own a marketing agency. We launched recently, but I have about 9 years of prior experience in marketing, and I am only 25 years old. So, to go back 9 years, right, that was like fresh out of high school. And really, where that all stemmed was I remember, when you're like 17, 18, and you need to get a job and everyone's like going to work at fast food. Everyone's going to work at McDonald's. And I was like, I am not doing that. I have to figure out another way to make money. And I came across on Facebook somebody that was selling resumes, like designing and selling resumes online. And I was like, man, I could totally do that. I have a laptop, a school issued laptop, or whatever for college. And I can totally design resumes and make 50 bucks, 100 bucks here and there. So that's kind of how I got into the freelancing world at the age of 18 and have just kind of compiled 9 years now of experience doing anything and everything in the marketing and brand performance world because I've been supporting entrepreneurs for 9 years. So whether that be I had to teach myself WordPress and show it, and then learning email marketing and content funnels, and so it's just kind of compiled into now 9 years of experience, and we get to serve incredible clients now at the agency in social media management, email marketing strategy, consulting, etc. So I'm excited to have this conversation because you're totally right. PR and branding, they're all cousins. It's all equally as important. And a true brand, I always say that the product is just a souvenir of what you've already done to make people feel connected. Like
Mm.
that's what branding is. And so, I'm excited because I think PR is an incredible avenue to introduce your brand to others, as well as just the brand performance aspect is widely under talked about.
Oh my gosh, this is so cool. I love that you told the story of, seeing something on Facebook and you were like, okay, this could be a perfect job for me because I think back in college, and I think it's because we're a little bit younger. Liddy and I are a couple years older than you, but in college, I did a digital communications and information media, I guess, what do we call it? What's it called in college, what you do? What's the degree? A degree.
Okay, okay,
We did the
yes, yeah.
degree, and
That is the thing you do.
one of the projects was to actually look at Instagram and see how it can make business owners money. And I think because we're a little bit younger in this generation, like we've
Yeah,
grown up with technology, and that's been
yep.
such an advantage to all of us because we've learned, okay, how can we utilize this? It's changing so quickly, but I think it's actually been such an advantage to us because we've been just immersed in it since a young age.
Yeah, absolutely. I talk to the older millennial and then, plus crowd often, a lot of the inquiries that we'll get for my business. And the majority of them, what comes out of their mouth is, I just don't know any of this and I don't really have the capacity to learn it. Like, I'm not really interested. So you look confident in it. Can you help me? And I think it's so interesting because we just grew up, I with MySpace and then Facebook and then Instagram, and it just trickled and trickled, and now there's a new app every like year, 6 months, whatever. But we've kind of just learned what makes people feel connected online, what is for lack of a better term, a turn off to people online. I think because we've just experienced it ourselves, and that's something that I don't think any generation before has had.
1000%. Yeah, it's really interesting to be kind of with the times and able to utilize these skills and implement it not only for ourselves, but for others. And one thing I was really inspired by what you said before we even started was how you grew your own Instagram like really, really quickly. So, did you know how long had you had an Instagram? Like, what made it grow? Give us the quick and dirty here.
Yeah, and so right now, currently, I'm at about 30,000 followers, which I know in the world of marketing may not seem like a lot, but that is a lot of people. And really, what happened was up until, like I said, my business. My actual business had not launched until just the January or June of 2023. So just this past year. And I had a personal Instagram with less than 2,000 followers. And all of those followers were people from high school, college, family, friends. None of them were my ideal client. None of them were my ideal customer. And so, as I was going through the starting a marketing agency myself, going through my own brand plan, my own marketing plans, I was like, I have got to get some eyes on my content quickly. And really, kind of what that stemmed out of was I had seen a lot of success with virtual assistants clients. And I really wanted to teach other women that needed to step out of their 9 to 5s, a similar situation to where I was in. I needed to step out of my 9 to 5. And then it's like, okay, I want to get into the online space. How do I break into the online space? And so I basically chose for my personal Instagram to turn it into a hub of education and resources for women and mothers across the nation to learn how to break into the online space. So I just kind of started capitalizing on that, implementing some strategies that had worked for clients in the past, really focusing on messaging and the positioning that I wanted to take in the industry and doing things differently than, I feel like now you get on socials and you scroll and you see a lot of the same templated content. I wanted to do something different. And I think what has happened is that broke through and it reached the right audience, and the rest is history. So I've been growing pretty fast, about 10,000 followers a month on average, which is incredible. And and then now I just started finally for my agency and Instagram channel that we're going to start, applying a similar strategy to. So it's exciting to see it all come together. And I think that if you're in the beginning of growing a social channel or growing the social growth journey, I always ask my clients. A lot of times they'll come to me with multiple feeds that they're inspired by or accounts that they want to be like, and I'm like, every single one of those accounts got where they are because they didn't take into account what was the most mainstream popular thing. They found their own brand voice, they found their own brand goals and their own marketing mission, etc. And that's what got them to where they are, not copycat socials. So
So cool. So, so cool. Are you using any like scheduling platforms? Do you have any faves?
yeah, so my favorite, I mean, it's kind of like it's not even a question anymore. Is Metricool. So
Okay.
I have used almost every single one on the market. Later, Planoly. I've even used, like Canva to schedule, in-app scheduling. Metricool is so incredible. It's a newer tool, but it is coming with force. You can connect email marketing, many chat like automations. There's so much richness in that tool, and you can. A lot of people are like, oh, I use Later because I want to be able to see my, the preview of what my feed is going to look like to curate that content. You can do that on Metricool, and a lot of people don't know that. So I am Metricool till the day that I die.
I love that. Have you used Tailwind? We've been using that since August because we went like all in on a Pinterest strategy, which has been
Yeah,
super
Pinterest.
fun. But there's all these incredible AI functions now, like ghostwriters.
Uh-huh.
We have interns who are actually like managing those channels for us, but it is fascinating what scheduling apps can do for your business.
Oh yeah, Tailwind is incredible. And another reason that I've used Tailwind previously for Pinterest clients when I was a virtual assistant, and it's incredible. And I think what people don't realize is that a lot of these apps also integrate with Google Analytics. And so on a deeper level, once you get to the point in your business where you're like, okay, I don't just need to know what my engagement rate is. I need to know what the click conversions to each of my each of my pages, each of my podcasts, etc. That's when you really got to get into finding tools that integrate and connect with each other. So if you can start with Metricool or Tailwind or something that integrates with Google Analytics from the beginning, it'll be much easier for you to track everything and transfer data.
I love that. I love numbers, data, KPIs, like give it all to me. And I
Yes.
remember when you sent us like questions, Lydia sent me an email privately. She goes, Jayda speaks our language with the KPIs. She was like, she gets it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think and if you're not familiar with KPIs, key performance indicators, and there's a lot of like corporate acronyms and terms that I use, and it's so funny because at the same time I feel like my brand and mission is to very much be completely anti-corporate lifestyle, and so but these are things that I think are just essential for business growth. If you want to take your business from a hobby and a side hustle to an actually full-fledged organization, then you've got to have these things in place.
So true. I want to back up for a moment because we've had some networking events over the last couple of months, and I've met some incredible women business owners who have decently large followings. And, the one huge avenue that does open up for a business owner is potentially brand deals, because if you have the audience, you have this ability to actually monetize your audience because people want to get in front of those people. So, what part of your agency strategy is helping them grow on socials?
Yeah, so I think that brand deals are huge. In general, influencer marketing, UGC, user generated content, those are all things that you have to take into account now whenever you're trying to help a brand grow on socials. It used to be that a curated feed of content that was value packed was enough, but people really need to feel the emotional connection, storytelling piece. And that's why you see brands like Poppy and Duolingo and all these really big brands blowing up on socials. People just absolutely enamored with their content. And I mean, like, it's something that I could go get from Walmart right now. Like, I could go get a Poppy from Target or, et cetera. And it's like, the key there is how are you being visible? What story are you telling? That's what we try to capitalize on social. It is way more messaging and positioning than it is even the content that you create, I would say. And then, once you know your message, then it kind of leads into the content planning, the content themes, and then you break it down into like really nitty gritty KPIs and strategies that will work across brands. But I think the biggest question that you have to ask yourself is, what is the story I want to tell and how can I make it different than everyone? Whether that be through comedy, whether that be through theatrics, information, etc., trends, whatever.
I'm just sitting here thinking about how, like 20 years ago, the way that a business got their name out there was like print marketing, TV ads, and now with social media, we are our own production agency, and we have
Yeah.
this ability to reach an entirely new audience. Like it's pretty mind-blowing that that's where we're at.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we all got into entrepreneurship because we have like a mission in mind or a product that you want to sell or a service that you want to sell. And then you very quickly become the content creator and the lighting technician and the production booth. And, you are all of it all at once. And it is a beautiful thing because when you finally get to the place where you're like, oh, okay, I can do this, I can handle this, it really unlocks some kind of confidence in you. And I always like to tell people too, like, the old ways in a lot of ways still work. Like, I'm working on getting billboards in my city right now, which is a dream of mine. I mean, it's always just been, everyone as an entrepreneur has that dream of a New York Times, or an NY Square billboard once in their life. And so for me, I'm like, okay, well, let's just start with the local billboards and the little business cards. And it's also funny to me because I talk to entrepreneurs a lot that have two, 300, 400 plus, thousand followers on socials, and they have not a clue how to market themselves to their local market, and nobody in their city even knows what they do. And I'm like, you gotta work both once you get to that point. So
It's so funny. I was literally at a networking event yesterday, and there was maybe, I would say it's a 50-50 split between like the online business owner and the brick and mortar. And I was just eating up everything that they were saying because it's so valuable. And I really think there can be this synergy between like what the brick and mortar companies and those business owners, what they do things really well. They know how to network, they know how to market themselves to local outlets to the local market to get in with their local chamber of commerce. And then we have the online business owner who definitely knows a lot more about social media and marketing and doing, reels and all these things. And I think it's this beautiful blend. And I think after COVID, like I really personally wanted to get back in person. I was like, I want to put myself on the map in person because, years ago I used to teach a lot of yoga, women's circles, host a lot of local events, and then it went totally online. So, yeah, what do you think we can take from that brick and mortar business? How do you think we can take that into the online space?
Yeah, I think what I've learned with brick and mortar business owners is they have a very one, they're extremely good at solving problems because they've been forced to. When you have that much overhead, there is a lot more pressure typically, right? And so, I mean, they're incredible problem solvers. And there are a lot of women that want to start their own businesses that come to me and we talk through strategy. And a lot of them are like, oh, if I could just get invited to influencer events, if I could just, etc. And I'm like, no, that would be awesome, but you need to be in a mini mind or a mastermind or some sort of go and meet with other entrepreneurs in your area and ask them, how are you doing? What's working for you? And so I think if you zoom out of social, you realize that there's a city around you, a town around you, or maybe not too far from you if you're out in the country. There is somewhere around you where people would be totally willing to sit down with you and talk through your business and talk through their experience. And the only thing that you have to do is be open to it. And I think even I've learned like Gen Z can kind of be a little bit and feel a little bit entitled to success online because that's what we grew up with. And I think that can be annoying to the older generation that owns businesses because they've worked so hard for whatever they've built. And we have got to take that for what it is and kind of like let our own pride down for a second and go, oh, okay, I have so much to learn that is apart from my computer or my laptop or my phone.
That could be like a whole other conversation. I have so many
It really
thoughts on
could.
that too. Yes, so
Yeah.
good. I want to take us into this topic or word or phrase that seems like new in the industry, brand performance. Can you tell us like what does that mean? Why does it matter?
Yeah, absolutely. So brand performance, or as I call it, and a few other people in the marketing industry, we call it brand formance.
Okay, I did say
Um,
that, right?
yeah. So, but it is brand performance. That's essentially what it is. But basically, the idea is brand formance is the ability to combine business and marketing goals to get to where you want to go faster. So, up until recently in the online space with the introduction of TikTok and the introduction of like, just really heavy content funnels and I mean, marketing funnels have been around for years and years, but basically I feel like there was always a tendency to separate business goals in terms of revenue, overhead, employees, and then marketing goals like visibility, social channels, et cetera. Like the teams used to sit down separately and go, okay, what do we need to do to reach our revenue goals in terms of what we're selling, our offers, who are we going to hire? And then on the other hand, you would have a creative team that would sit around the table or on Zoom and would talk about how to get the brand seen. So brand formance is just this idea that actually now with the online space, if you'll put those two together, and really take the people that are seeing your brand along for the journey of what you're creating and how you're deciding services and what you're offering, it becomes a lot more powerful because people need to be involved in a story and people need to feel an emotional connection to your brand long before they ever purchase. And I think the statistic now is people need to see something 11 to 21 times before they'll actually make a buying decision. So, it's not enough to just post on social media, hey, this is what I do. Hey, this is what I do. Hey, this is what I do. That's cool. But what will really capture more attention is if you tell people, I have these big business goals and you can be a part of it. And this is how. That's what brand performance is. It's the tracking of all branding and marketing efforts combined with business efforts. Instead of separating the two, they need to operate together now for this generation and for the people that we want to reach in the online space.
Do you think this is why like the behind the scenes content is so juicy for our audience? And I even love when companies will do like their annual report, but they'll bring those numbers and like what they're doing and their plan and their marketing campaigns like to the public. Is this
Hmm.
happening? This is what you're seeing too?
Yeah, I think that's huge. One thing that I love is I don't know if you use Spotify, but Spotify does something called Spotify Wrapped at the end of every year, right? And it's a combination of all your favorite songs and everything that you've listened to. And what I saw, and this is a great example, is some of my favorite entrepreneurs and companies out there were basically doing their own version of Spotify Wrapped, and they were sharing their numbers, they're sharing where they're going. And I think brand performance is essentially it is tracking and outlining measurable key performance indicators for all your marketing efforts, and then combining that and letting it lead and grow your business strategy. A lot of people think that their marketing plan and their business plan are two separate things, and in a way they include different things, but they should work together. They should not be separated. um, you know, your marketing plan, a lot of people just think, okay, well, every quarter we'll just kind of figure out what campaigns we want to throw out there and we'll just kind of figure out what's working online or whatever, what we can do. And if you would combine the two, you would get a lot more actionable goals and a lot more actionable results.
This is so cool. Do you have any ideas of like trends of where you see the online industry going? Is there going to be another social platform? Do you think we're going to continue to use like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook? Or what about LinkedIn? Like, what do you see happening in the industry?
Yeah, it's interesting. Things are shifting right now. One something really interesting. One of my favorite facts that I learned recently was the number one most Googled word in all of 2023 was not Taylor Swift. It was actually authenticity.
Hmm.
How to tell when things are authentic. And I think what's happening right now is culture shifting, and a lot of people are over the spoon fed influencer marketing, all of the social channels looking the same. Every time you get on social, people telling you need to buy something, you got to do something, you need to try a new strategy in your business. It gets really draining really fast. And so recently I was listening to a podcast by none other than the marketing queen herself, Jenna Kutcher. She was talking about kind of where she sees the marketing space going. And something that I found so interesting was just once I learned that authenticity was the most searched word last year, was people just are hungry for someone to pull the mask down and share their story and the process. And that's why the behind the scenes content is working so well. And then on the other side, you look at platforms that have always been extremely professional, like LinkedIn. um, they have really just been a means to gather information, source, people for your company, whatever. And they're saying this could be the year of LinkedIn influencers, basically, where people are. I saw a post. I got on LinkedIn yesterday, and there was a post that a guy, I didn't know who he was. He just popped up on my feed, was talking about how he was recently laid off of his job, and it was a picture of him and his wife, and he was basically asking for connections. And I thought, how brave of him, how personable and vulnerable of him. And I mean, that post had 14,000 shares and thousands of people commenting saying, I have an opportunity for you. And I think that's something that's not been introduced very heavily into the LinkedIn space yet. And so if you're an entrepreneur looking for avenues that you can target other than Instagram, TikTok, et cetera, LinkedIn is a great one to get in and get serious about right now. Another one that people are kind of throwing by the wayside is Threads. Threads, came up big. It was like, oh, there's a huge platform opening. And then, now the majority of people, you click on their Threads account and it's like one thread from 28 weeks ago, no activity since. But the people that have stuck with it and have actually toughed it out and created some sort of strategy for it are seeing huge results. I have a really good friend who's an entrepreneur, and she sells digital courses, online education. She creates her own courses. And she posted a thread that basically, as a way of repurposing content, she just took the text that she had posted from a reel and copied and pasted it into Threads. And that thread went viral. And by viral, I don't mean that many. It was only like 3,000 shares. Like it wasn't even like 300, a million, whatever. And that one thread made her $3,000 of sales that day. And I'm like, there's so much power in each platform that I think we feel very intimidated and feel the need to tackle all marketing channels at once. I have to do email marketing. I have to do social. And if I'm on social, I have to be on all platforms. That is actually the worst way to get visible, because what people are going to see is that you're not doing any of them really well. So I always tell people focus on 1 to 2 platforms, and one great ones to get into right now, Threads, LinkedIn, Instagram's always going to be there, I think, for at least the next 10, 15 years. It's going to be relevant. Facebook is really just great for community now. It's really not the place where you want to, sell your offers. So I think taking each social platform for what it's really worth and what it's good for in this season is going to be the marketing trend for 2024. Is people are really refining what time they want to spend apps on. I used to click into Facebook, LinkedIn, all of them a day. Now I'll be lucky if I get on TikTok once every 3 weeks. So, I'm refining my own life and the time that I want to spend because I need more authenticity. And that's the story for everyone right now.
Yeah, I'm hearing this authenticity, not just the word, but this idea. Lydia and I have talked about this a lot. It's like as consumers, we are becoming more intuitive and more perceptive of what's real and almost like what's fluffy. And we don't
Hmm.
want the fluff these days. It's like we can intuit that we need the level deeper. And I think that's why like the storytelling and being real and showing some emotions, to a certain degree are so helpful. And now you're seeing like big companies get on these trends too, which I just think is
Yep.
so cool. And I almost feel like it's the entrepreneurs, the online business owners, the influencer culture who's like led that because
Yep.
everything is changing. So I love that authenticity. LinkedIn, we are team LinkedIn over here at Visibility Era and Visibility on Purpose. So we
Yeah.
are loving that. And I'm too seeing that storytelling happening there. And it's a really beautiful platform. It's starting to be one, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's underestimated. And I mean, if you're going to do any kind of paid reach, especially if you have a service-based business, LinkedIn is giving on average the best return on investment for ad spend and everything right now. So get in it if you're not in it. That's all I can say.
Amazing. I originally said we're going to talk email marketing. It's like 30 something minutes have already gone by and we didn't even get there. So I'm sure that we'll have you on another time where we can go into email marketing. I'd love for you just to share like all of the services that your agency offers. You just mentioned ads. Do you guys do ads as well?
Yeah, so we do essentially kind of like 5 pillars. One is consulting. So if you're just in a place where you can't necessarily hire a month to month marketing manager or a social media manager, et cetera, but you need outside eyes, we offer monthly and quarterly consulting. And that could be for social media, marketing channels, content pipelines, et cetera, all things marketing plan. And then we offer monthly marketing services, social media, ads management, email marketing, and that would be copy, design, and funnel, etc. And then we do workshops. So we have our own education, putting out kind of like once a quarter. The goal is to do some kind of big strategy workshop and really that be a place for entrepreneurs at a lower price point to come and get their questions answered. And then we do intensives. And intensives, I'm really a big fan of, but it's basically, same investment as like professional branding, similar where you don't really have the space to have a monthly social media manager. That's okay. Save up and then we'll radically transform your marketing in 3 days. So and give you a plan, an actionable plan to follow. So essentially done for you, marketing plans, with everything in place for you to feel successful that year. So
Amazing. I'm so impressed by you. I love that you shared your age because I was like, wow, she looks so young, but like you are so accomplished. You feel like such an old soul. It's like you have been doing this for a while. So I'm sure that there have been seeds planted since you were a young age to go forth and be an entrepreneur. And we definitely would love to have you, back on the show to collaborate more because you were just
yeah.
so much cool information has been shared today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I could talk about all this stuff for hours. So I would love to come back and I'd love to get to meet Lydia as well. So
Amazing, amazing. Where can people find you?
you can find me on Instagram at it's Jayda Martin. And then my agency is www.jayda, Jayda, martinagency.com.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Jada, for being on the show. And thank you to all of our incredible listeners. Thank you to this community. That was another episode of Visibility Era. Thanks, Jada.
Bye.